Hi, HSEA parents. We wanted to come to you to share a few updates on the school year. In the past, sometimes we've gathered together on curriculum night to do this, but we thought it would be best to send a video where you can come back and reference this as needed. And that way you have the time you want with the teachers within the classrooms. Please enjoy this video and the one from Father Terry. Father Terry, Mrs. Clark, and I will be out there to greet you this evening. As always, please reach out if you have any questions. We will be at the doors and be happy to answer any of them. But we're so excited to welcome you into the school building again for curriculum night tonight. We wanted to share a few things with you. And as I mentioned in the Sunday night newsletter, I mentioned a little bit about some of our safety upgrades over the summer. Safety is always at the forefront of our minds here at HSCA, and we are constantly talking about what we can do to improve what we have here and what we will continue to do. So as you saw in the Sunday night newsletter, I mentioned that we're going to have 3M coating put on some of our exterior doors, some of our windows at the lower level, the nursery windows for one of the 2-year-old classrooms, any of the ones that are more at like I would say like street level, those windows will have that 3M coating and the exterior doors placed on it. And what the 3M coating is, again, it helps if someone were to try to get in, it helps to have an extra barrier to not cause the door to break so easily. So that will be installed beginning like mid to late September and then into October, because they have to do it on a day where we are not in session. So that is coming. Another thing we are going to be sharing with you, and probably I would expect within the next month, is an app called Safer Watch. And so the Parent Association has actually sponsored this for the next 3 years for us. Safer Watch is an app where it creates a geofence for our perimeter. So the 4 corners of our 4 streets, I should say, that are on our property, that, align our property. And so anyone who is within that geofence will be able to send an alert if there is something going on our campus, if you have the app. So our parent community will have the app, the parish office staff will have that, and then the teachers and staff will have that as well. So let's say you're in the parking lot and you notice a suspicious car, you will be able to take a picture of that car and upload it, and it'll go directly to the authorities. So it'll go right to the 911 call center. It also will alert the Inverness Police Department. So when Larry Martin, one of the Inverness police officers, came out to speak to our staff on our first day back on August 7th, he mentioned that there's a lot of different apps right now. We did research on this and felt this was the one best for us. And I just had initial training on Monday, and we are starting to send them some of our information. And then we anticipate to roll it out to you as parents after we get it kind of up and rolling here. But again, like I said, hopefully in the next month. We would ask at door 20 at the entrance to not hold the door open for others. Now, I know that's going to maybe seem not welcoming, but we're asking all of our parents, we asked our staff not to hold the door open for others. So we really want you to buzz in. And then the office, I know I heard the office saying again today, can you please move closer to the camera so I can see you? They are verifying who it is that is entering the school building via the cameras we have and watching those individuals as they walk down the hall. But again, our teachers might just say, I'm sorry, I need to close the door. I need you to buzz in to the school building. Or sometimes you might see me standing there, but I might have a walkie-talkie and say, oh, I'm sending Mrs. Clark down to the office. I'm buzzing her through so that I alert the office that I've let someone in the building. But ideally, every parent should be buzzing in on their own, except maybe we have a large group event or something like that where we'll have staff stationed at the door there. As we shared too, we've continued to have a very strong relationship with the Inverness Police Department. They joined us for Mass today with 2 officers while we were gathered for Mass this morning. But we continue to consult with them about best practices. They're often on site. You've seen them a lot for arrival and dismissal the past couple days, because they, like I said, they are partners with us and they are here to continue to keep all of us safe. We've participated in tabletop exercises. Mrs. Knuth was a part of that last spring. We have some scheduled again, I believe, in October. Tabletop exercises are opportunities for us to play out different scenarios and how we would respond to them and think about what we might need to do or alter within our protocols. So we will be continuing to do that. Our middle school STEAM program this year is going to have 5 modules. That's because we have so many middle schoolers. We wanted to make sure we had reasonable amount of students within each of our modules. So what happens in middle school, for those of you that are in preschool, I think it's always important to know what's going on at the different grades. Our students will be we're moving STEM to the STEAM program to Thursday afternoons. So they will rotate through each of these 5 modules over the course of the year. So they're probably 6 or 7 week modules. So Mrs. Bird is going to be leading drones. And drones, it's kind of, she found something and she met with an owner of a company, and our students will learn how to utilize them, how to create different videos and things with the drones. Financial literacy will be led by Mr. Berglund and Mrs. Passion. And again, I think this is just one of those critical skills and classes that our students need as they think about their future. How can they be financially smart and make smart decisions with their money and their finances, and plan for their own futures? Forensics will be taught by Mrs. Freeman and Mrs. Espinoza Lira. And I always tell parents, like when I sat in, I think this is probably my 4th time we've done forensics since I've been here. If I had sat in on a forensics class when I was their age, I probably would have been really intrigued and consider that. I've always wanted to be in education, but that class just really sparked an interest in me. And I often wonder, like, how many other students may go into that field having sat through our forensics course. So that's really exciting. Mrs. Clark and I are teaching a STEAM unit this year called Sharing Our Story, or the Story of Us, where we're going to task the students for determining how they want to share the story of what's going on at Holy Family Catholic Academy with the greater, broader community. So they may use some social media apps, and I think both Mrs. Clark and I believe, let's see which way the students take it. They may choose to do podcasts. They may choose to do something else. So we will all be in it together. But again, sharing our story. And Mrs. Paprone and Mr. Sam will be doing the stamp and printmaking with our students. So again, bringing that art element into it. So really excited about STEAM this year. Our international baccalaureate programs, as you know, we are a PYP, or primary years program authorized school. We received that authorization in 2017 or 2018. I always, it was that year. It was a 2017-2018 school year that we received that. So Mrs. Bird and Mrs. Trandell are our co-coordinators this school year for the PYP, and we are preparing for reauthorization or evaluation in fall of 2024. So part of that process is that our teachers have created all of our units, which they're written, that they're reflected upon, and revised as we go through it. What works one year may not work with a different group of students that's in front of us, and we may take different units in different directions. And so that's part of this whole process, looking at our assessment policy, looking at our language policy. All of that is some of the work that will be put in place prior to our visit in fall of next year. And we are proud to say that we are a candidate school for the middle years program. So Mrs. Clark is overseeing this program, and the initial training occurred on August 8th and 9th with our middle school team, Mrs. Clark and myself. We all worked on that together, and we're really excited, and we'll be taking what we learned from that initial course and beginning to continue to have discussions about how we can expand some of our units and use the framework that IB provides to build our units there. And then eventually we will get to the point where our teachers go to their content area specific training courses to learn with other IB teachers in that manner. Most importantly, I would like to share with you our strategic plan. I'm giving you kind of a broad sense of what our strategic plan is. So we spent the entire last school year working with a consulting company called Meitler, who works with a lot of Catholic schools, to create a strategic plan for HFCA. And so this is a presentation I'm going to share with you. So first, I feel it's important to know who is a part of our strategic planning committee. As you can see here, it was comprised of our administration, teachers who represented different grade levels and different specialties, parents, school board members, and parish representatives. When we met, Meitler really talked to us about characteristics of a good strategic plan. And I think the one that's most important to call out and what Meitler would say to us is they could create a handed to us. They can come out, meet with us once or twice, give us a strategic plan. We could say, great. And they would tell us, That's a Meitler plan. That's not a Holy Family Catholic Academy plan. And I can assure you that the committee, Mrs. Clark and myself, as part of that committee, gave a lot of feedback, and the draft of the strategic plan went through many revisions. Our goal was, like, we minced words. We wanted to make sure everything was thought out and it read like who we are. And so I can assure you it is an HFCA plan. It's also long range. It is to guide us forward for the next 5 years. When you're thinking about the plan development, you can say, so we start by where are we? We have a vision, and then our strategic plan is how we are going to get to that vision. So we looked at our current reality. Where would we say last fall? What did we say where we are? We have concerns about our teacher compensation. Well, we work really hard to have strong relationships with the parish. It is still mentioned to us by parishioners and parents alike. We know we've got the IB PYP program. We have a very strong Catholic culture that's reflected in our classrooms, reflected in the school building, within our coursework. We have a service program. We're at 71% capacity, and our net promoter score is 68.4. And that is a score to say, like, I could give more specifics when I will share this a little bit more at the Parent Association meeting in September, but an average score for a school is about 50. So they would say we have a really strong net promoter score. We then discussed, what do we want to see? What do we want HFCA to be in 5 years? Where do we want to be? What is our preferred future? So we want to have balanced annual budgets. The school viewed as a ministry of the parish, and we are one of the 7 ministries of the parish. Strong Catholic identity, that we continue that we have high teacher retention and competitive compensation, a robust financial aid program, knowing that the tax credit scholarship program may sunset in the fall or at the end of this school year. We really need to think about what we're going to do to plan ahead to continue to support our families. Capacity enrollment, and focus on Catholic social teachings and global learning. So part of what we did, and if you were here last year, you know that we provided surveys to our parents and to the faculty and staff. And so here are some of the results that we wanted to highlight for you. So the faculty, 98% of the faculty believe that HFCA is a good place to work, and 100% of the faculty would recommend HFCA to prospective parents. 94% agree or strongly agree that the policies are administered fairly and reflect who we are as a school community. And 100% believe that the principal and assistant principal place the needs of the students first. From the parent perspective, these are the top factors that parents said when they were selecting a school, what was important to them: the faculty, safety, academic excellence, our culture, which we strongly feel is warm and welcoming, and the communication. 94% of our parents believe that IB is a valuable program and a component of HFCA. And another question we specifically asked of our 2nd through 5th grade parents was, how many of you would like to see the IB program continue into middle school? And 86% of those parents said, yes, we would like to see it continue. And while we had been thinking about the MYP for years, we wanted that data point, and that's really what drove us forward to apply for candidacy by the end of June. So when we wrote this strategic plan, we aligned it to the national standards for benchmarks for Catholic elementary and secondary schools. And these were just revised again, just tweaked a little bit in the past month, but they align to these different areas, which we're going to go through in just a moment. So up first is mission and Catholic identity. And again, what we're sharing with you is the broad goals. We have action steps underneath each of those goals, but right now our purposes are for the goals. As we shared in our current reality, we have a service program. Our preferred reality is we have a robust service program, comprehensive and age-appropriate learning program for all students. So what does that look like? It means that each maybe grade level is taking on something else to continue to expand the student's idea of service throughout the years. Preschool might be something like bring a can of food in, something tangible for them, where the 8th graders are going out into the community, or 7th graders might be creating awareness about different topics. So it'll vary based on the grades, and hopefully have a reflection point for our 8th grade students at the end of their years and how service impacted them as individuals. The school and parish goal is that we will continue to strengthen the goals between the Catholic Academy and the parish community. And that's like another reason why we had parish representatives as part of this committee to talk through this. What are some ideas about things we can do? The next area is academic excellence. So first goal is that the IB program will be expanded into middle school. We could go check. So we are working on that right now. So we're proud that we knew and set out to do that and had that candidacy application in before the end of June. Under technology will be utilized to transform education. What this means, we're using technology regularly within our classrooms, but how are we enhancing it and going beyond what we're currently doing? And then finally, under academic excellence, to create a multi-level scaffold support system to support all of our students. Thinking about the needs of our students. Do we need additional staff? Do we need different programs that we are using to support our students? Operational vitality. So our enrollment goal is to create a comprehensive enrollment management plan. Thinking about what does enrollment look like 5 years down the road, and how can we invite new families to come join our wonderful community? From a facilities perspective, we will create a master plan. So probably having someone come out and look at our space. How can we better utilize our space, and what might be some goals that we would try to achieve in maybe reconfiguring our space. And then continuing to annually determine what upgrades, safety needs we have, as we just mentioned in a previous slide, things that we're doing because it's always at the forefront of our minds. From an advancement perspective, that we will create a comprehensive marketing and communication plan, and an annual appeal will be instituted. Financial goals, that we will look at employee compensation. So our teachers are on the archdiocesan contract, and that is what, as an archdiocesan school, we need to use. But looking at other ways to help support our teachers, because they're making a commitment to be a part of Holy Family Catholic Academy. And as you know, they're amazing and work so hard. And so what are some alternate ways? And our Parent Association was a great supporter, and the school board last year of this. Like we had the snowball, and the extra funds from that helped to support teachers. Trivinia night last year helped to support teachers. So we were able to give the staff members an extra gift at the end of the school year, and we would like to continue to do that and to grow that. As I mentioned earlier, the tax credit scholarship program potentially will sunset. We may need your help in trying to see if we can avoid that and go to Springfield later in the fall here. We may need some advocacy on your part, but we are looking at different ways to provide tuition assistance to our families, because we want all of our families to continue to receive the education we provide. And to maintain a 5-year financial projection for income and expenses. So as we're preparing our budget for each year, always having the future in mind as we're preparing that. Under the governance and leadership perspective, so from a leadership model, that we will have clear lines of responsibility, including effective operating procedures and ways in which the faculty and staff can participate in the decision-making process from kind of all aspects of the school day, school building, and school year. And that the strategic plan will be updated and implemented annually. And the school advisory board is going to be responsible for the strategic plans. So we will regularly discuss where we are on this, and different members of the school board will have responsibility for each of these different goals. So there you have it. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this presentation. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I will be going into more depth for this, and I can review these goals and share a little bit more about this with the Parent Association meeting we have planned for September to be able to answer any questions for this. But we're really excited about the strategic plan, and we look forward to a great school year with you. Again, thank you for joining us for Curriculum Night, and we hope you enjoyed spending time in your child's classroom. Take care.